Hello, love, and welcome back to another episode of Moon Catching with Erica. I am Erica, and today we are going to be talking about regaining your faith and your trust in your body, your ability to get pregnant, and your ability to do so without using IVF. We're going to talk about things you shouldn't be doing and things you should be doing. So let's get into it. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about just something that I've been kind of thinking about for my purpose and my place and my perspective and I guess my role in how I want to continue to serve everyone in my community. And the question that I was thinking about was, what is everyone's biggest concern? What is her, thinking about you all? What is your biggest concern? And then, that allowed me to pause and think back to myself, what was my biggest concern? And that's why I wanted to talk to you all today about how to regain your faith in getting pregnant, to regain your faith in getting pregnant naturally, to regain your faith in getting pregnant without IVF. And I know for a lot of us, struggling with conceiving, difficulty getting pregnant, it's like a one and done. Like, okay, if it's hard, the first step and the obvious step should be IVF. And some of us, that's certainly how society and our culture around the, fertility space is shaping things, that this is what you do, this is your best option, and a lot of times it's presented as your only option. So what about the mamas who are not interested in IVF? Or what about the mamas who are really struggling with taking that leap? For some people, it's, sign me up immediately. I want all the help that I can get, specifically from this way, specifically from the way that IVF and assisted methods work. But for others, it's like, it's just more of it's a harder decision. And sometimes we're not often sure if it's the decision that is right for us. And the issue becomes when we're not presented with other options. It's like, okay, maybe I'm thinking I don't want to do IVF, but it seems like that's what everyone else does, and this seems like what I should be doing too. So how do you, when you're kind of stuck in that kind of stuck in that rut, stuck in that, moment of indecision, and you're wondering, maybe I should go ahead and pursue IVF because it ain't working, so maybe I should just go ahead. And we end up in this space, we lose faith in our bodies, we lose faith in our fertility, we lose faith in ourselves, in our ability to do this thing that all these other women seem to be able to do. And we tend to kind of end up maybe pursuing assisted methods because we no longer have faith that is even possible to do it naturally, because you've been trying for so long, because maybe we've experienced so many losses, because you're older and you feel like I need the biggest bang for my buck, maximize my time. And so I guess the question is that we always end up asking ourselves, like, is it ever going to happen? Is it ever going to happen for me? Is the road, the path to motherhood and getting pregnant, is that even an option for me? And for, speaking for myself and my journey, my husband and I, we landed on the decision that no, IVF wasn't for us, that we all are coming to these decisions on our own. And I'm sure the fact that we already had a child, this helped us make those type of decisions, right? So I know everyone is going to figure it out for themselves. But then also, knowing everything that I know about the body, knowing everything that I know about fertility, that also helped me make my decision. Like, I know too much to throw in the towel. I know too much to just give up on this. What I know is telling me to keep looking. And so how does someone like maybe you, who doesn't have the knowledge that I have, doesn't have the education I have, hasn't studied what I studied, doesn't read what I read, you're seeing your social media pages being filled with IVF and this other woman who's done X amount of cycles, and it's all IVF everywhere, IVF for everyone. And so the question becomes again, should you basically give up, and I'm here to help you. I will want to help encourage you and remind you that the path to natural fertility doesn't have to be closed. It is still possible to get pregnant naturally. It is still possible to find the exact type of fertility support that you need. Because for most women, in most cases, once things are, once the obstacles are removed, natural fertility can flow again. And so the question is, maybe you're left wondering, okay, why? Why isn't it working? You've been trying month after month, cycle after cycle, and you're just wondering why it isn't working. And I would say it's because you haven't found the root cause. All of this, none of this is necessarily spontaneous. None of this is just out of the blue, no rhyme or reason. We don't immediately always understand the rhyme or reason, but there is a rhyme or reason. Our bodies, that's just how our bodies work. Hi, thank you so much for joining. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. I am just diving in and just talking about, how can we make this option of natural pregnancy still an option? And I know a lot of the times we find ourselves doubting that it's even possible. So thank you for joining, and I hope that if you have any questions, you'll feel comfortable asking me or sharing anything that you want to share. Um, so so I would say, a lot of times we are we're doing what we know to do, but it's not always what's best to do. So maybe we are listening to our cousin, sister, friend, and she tried this supplement. She added maca and she added ashwagandha and she did this and that. And you're like, okay, I should try that too. Maybe you are, hi, thank you so much for joining. Let me know if you have any questions or any comments. My sister girlfriend, everyone tried all these things, right? And it worked for them. But then you try it for yourself and it doesn't work for you. Or maybe you're on Google, maybe you're the Google queen and you're reading the blogs and it's saying, do this, do that, cut out this, don't do this, stand on your head, whatever it's saying. And you're trying those things and it's still not working. You're like, okay, what's going on here? This worked for her and this worked for her. Why is it not working for me? Oh, I must be the exception. It's just not going to work for me. And we end up in this spiral, probably almost, of just feeling like, okay, I'm the exception to the rule. All these other people, maybe they struggle. It took them a few tries, few cycles, few whatever, but it worked for them. But me, it's never going to work. And we end up in this pretty depressing bubble of, where we have lost our faith. So how do we get that back? How to regain the faith that any of this is even possible? Hello, ladies, all of you who are joining now. Thank you so much for joining and checking in with me. Hopefully, I can share something today to re-inspire you, encourage you, and reestablish your faith in your body, in yourself, in your fertility, because the whole, you are not broken thing is so true. You are not broken. Low fertility, even though it's called infertility, it's not infertility, it's imbalance. So this is all about finding your balance. So what worked for her might not ever work for you because you're not her, right? That's all the time, when I went natural, like all the natural hair products, I can't use what she used. We have different hair textures. Even if we do have the same texture, maybe it still isn't working for me. It's the same. It's that's a very simple example, but it's the same thing. What worked for her, yeah, it probably did work for her, but it's not going to always work for you. And a lot of times, when we're Googling and we're just, trying to try what she tried or whatever, we're really just still rolling the dice. We're really still just kind of rolling the dice. And quite frankly, we're kind of wasting time by not doing the due diligence of finding your why, finding your root cause. And it's almost, I often think about the definition of insanity that, I don't know the exact phrasing, but basically it boils down to the definition of insanity is that you keep trying the same thing, expecting different results. And that makes no sense on any stage, on any level for anything that you're trying to do, right? And so why would we be doing that for our fertility? Well, we're just trying month after month. Maybe next month, praying and hoping, yes, obviously, that next month will be different. That next month we will be pregnant. That next time we do get pregnant, we won't miscarry. But we haven't changed anything. And yet we're expecting this miraculous change, but we haven't done anything to change it, right? So, what would I say we should be doing instead? If you are someone who is or has been trying, who is currently trying to conceive, because they say we have to wait 6 months to even get a diagnosis, and then you need to have 3 losses before you can get a miscarriage panel. Like they have all these rules, right? But what can we be doing for ourselves? And what can we be doing to take back, control, take back the power? Because when you end up in this boat and bubble, you definitely feel lost. You feel lost. You feel hopeless. You feel all the despair and the pain because you're like, this isn't happening and I'm not getting any help. And I don't really even see the light at the end of the tunnel. Jess says, yes, that's my issue. I have miscarried 3 times with 1 baby, so a total of 4 pregnancies. Yeah, and the issue, and when I'm reading this, I'm definitely thinking about my own story. 4 pregnancies, 1 baby, also. 1.5, 1 and 3/4. This one's still cooking. But yeah, and so and I'm you don't have to comment back or anything, Jess, but I'm wondering when you tell me this, what were you able to try differently in between those? What were you able to try or change or adjust to do differently? Because there is something that, especially for you to have 1 perfectly healthy baby, I'm assuming 1 great pregnancy, it worked once. So what was lost? What changed? What was the point of change in your life and your health? What happened? What changed? Quite frankly, pregnancy is enough of a change. Having a baby, delivering a baby, being a new mom, that is enough to deplete us. And certainly that was my issue, that I wasn't able to restore and replenish my health and my nutrients and my levels and my hormones never really rebalanced before I started trying again. And so, a lot of times we aren't aware of this or know this or even think to kind of look there. But this is kind of what we all need to do. Just figure out, again, certainly for someone who has had a pregnancy and a beautiful baby already, it worked once and is not working. There has to be a difference somewhere in there. So Jess is saying, so I took my health in my own hands, wonderful, with the foods that I'm eating, supplementing with proper supplements and acupuncture. That sounds wonderful. It sounds like you are trying to find a way to restore and reboost and replenish. And I'm always encouraging, let me find my words. So my encouragement to you is to make sure that you're not just guessing. These are all like the umbrella of these things are wonderful. Yes, let's look at how you can change your eating. Let's look what supplements you can be doing. Let's see what type of alternative medicines you can be adding to your routine. These are all wonderful notions and thoughts and ideas. But then the question becomes, which specific foods should you be eating or not eating? Which specific supplements for your specific form or presentation of low fertility, which ones are specific to you? And then, to find out how to build out your own unique, because I'm not accusing you, but I'm just assuming that maybe perhaps you just quickly found some resources and said, this is good and this is good. And you're like, yes, I'll take those. But you didn't quite find out or assess or analyze your exact issue to find out the exact fix. Soulstar says, the hard part is feeling like having my daughter was a fluke. Wow. I miscarried a year before her and 2 years after her. That is interesting. So certainly the wonderful, beautiful miracle of I was saying this the other day that even a healthy couple has a one in four chances of conceiving. So young, 25-year-old girl and her babe, perfectly healthy. It will only happen one fourth of the time. So I don't I say sometimes it's a miracle that any of us are here because to get pregnant and to grow a baby and for all those teeny tiny, chains, links in the chains to happen, it's a miracle that they always happen, right? That they happen for any of us. Um, but speaking to you, um, I certainly would not use that language that it was a fluke, but it is possible that the same issues that um, kind of led to your first miscarriage still carried through, even through your wonderful birth, and then even through to your other one. So I won't say it's a fluke, but I will say that it is possible that those same issues, I don't know how many years apart these things were, but those same issues were still standing. By the way, loving the comments. Um, I'm saying thank you. That's my way of saying thank you for participating because it's so much better than just me being up here just talking. Okay, so one more from Jess. She says, my last pregnancy was not planned, so I was not taking any prenatals. My body was not prepared. I just went for blood work, and my vitamin D was very low, and my progesterone she's saying, is low. So going to be taking something to actually boost projection in my body. I just saw a naturopath. Yeah, Shell, that's awesome. I don't want miscarriages to keep happening. Absolutely. So I think what you're saying is that you are in a position of kind of holding on to some fear that your body isn't in the best pregnancy ready, pregnancy friendly position. And yet here you are pregnant. And now you're finding out that you're having low this and low that. And you're just wanting to make sure that you can restore and replenish those things and have everything you need to support your pregnancy. So yes, I love that you are seeing a naturopath. Hopefully they are, which my thing with conventional doctors is that the ranges are like this big, right? Optimal health is here. Fertility health, maybe even more narrow, like because it takes so much and you need to like everything needs to be on point. So when they say, "Oh, your levels are fine," your OB or whatever, she's like, "Oh, your levels are fine." But certainly speaking to someone like a naturopath, and this is how I was trained as well with the integrative approach, like the functional way that your body needs to do all these things is only this big. And so yes, to make sure that you're not letting anything kind of slip through the cracks, hopefully your naturopath knows their stuff and they're going to be super helpful for you. Oh, thank you. Loving the topic and the energy. Thank you, super mode. Okay. And then Jess was just or Soulstar was coming back to Jess that the pregnancy with my daughter was the same. I wasn't trying to do anything, and then boom, healthy pregnancy, healthy baby. Isn't this how these wonderful miracles work? And, they say like, "Oh, don't stress and don't worry. Just all this happen." And there's some truth to that. Like the mind body connection pieces are definitely there. Or maybe someone like adopts and then a year later they have a kid. Like those things actually are true because of the mind body pieces. Just as I lost the baby on December, so now I'm trying to prepare my body. This is great. Thank you for talking about this. Absolutely, absolutely. You're so welcome. And then Soulstar says, I was diagnosed with low DOR, so diminished ovarian reserve, and low AMH, anti-Mullerian hormone, after the second miscarriage. So one miscarriage, birth, second miscarriage, okay, and that's where you are now, but no explanation as to why except age. Diagnosed at 42 and now 44. So that whole like age-related low fertility, which it's a thing, right? It definitely exists, but You know the saying, like, oh, you maybe see someone and maybe you haven't seen them in years, and then you see them out of the blue, like, 20 years later or whatever, right? I don't know how old we are, but 10, 20 years later, right? And you're like, "Oh, they've been really rough on their body, or they haven't aged well." And, you're the same age, but they look 20 years older than us, right? The same thing is possible for your tissues. And I mean, this is external, like your skin, right, on the outside, but the same thing is possible internally, certainly for your egg health, that they can be aging at a different rate than you are. But the wonderful thing is it can go either way. You can be aging biologically slower than your chronological age, but what people are trying to allude to with the whole age related thing is that we are aging quicker. Our eggs are I hate that, but we have old eggs, and all those things are basically saying that you can. So thankfully, it can go both ways, and it is up to us, up to you, to figure out how to go this way. How do I age slower? How do I take the care that is needed to not put the burden on my body, to slow down the. Maybe I was hard on my body before. I was had this crazy job, and I wasn't eating well, and I was partying all the time. And I was having these great years, now you're like in your late 30s, early 40s. And you're like, oh, let me slow my butt down, internally and externally, right? Mm. Not no just the eggs. Mm-mm, mm-mm. That visual, cobwebs and all. Mm-mm. So our ovarian environment, our uterine environment, ovarian environment are all very receptive for better or for worse. So it's our job to make it for better. It's our job to, give the right things, and you can actually protect, the whole antioxidant oxidant conversation. You can actually protect your cells, protect your tissue, protect your eggs, um, from damage, because they are getting older, because since puberty, the clock has been ticking, right? From puberty to menopause, the clock ticks. And so, yes, they have been moving with you, but it is our job to do our best to protect them as best we can. The world we live in is toxic AF, okay? And so, from our makeup, hair relaxers, all this crap. And for Black women, we are targeted and marketed with more toxic beauty care and vaginal douches, and like all these things that are very harmful. So it is our job to protect and slow all that down. Maintaining stress is a big one, very important. And by maintaining, you mean to like managing it and making and like reducing it. That definitely is definitely very true. So you all are basically, starting the conversation of where I wanted to go next too, of, what is it that we should be doing? So, I'm kind of saying what we shouldn't be doing. We shouldn't be listening to Google. We shouldn't be just winging it. We shouldn't be just not doing anything and just hoping for the best, which I definitely, if I sit back and reflect between my first miscarriage and my second miscarriage, I did absolutely nothing different, because I was in the whole bubble of it happens, which it does. I don't think we'll find a way to a world where no one ever miscarriage. It is definitely a natural part of life. It's death. Death is part of life, and so we're never. I don't think we're ever gonna science our way out of that. But what we should be doing is to making sure that it is just one of those things that Mother Nature is deciding, and not something that we could be doing to change our status, change our fertility. And so that probably will eat at me for probably the rest of my life, that I did nothing in between my miscarriages, because I was so, you know what you know, right? But I was just so stuck on or so believing in it happens. And so I just let it slide. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be fine next time. But after that second time, I was like, oh, hell no, this isn't normal. There's no way that this is normal. There's no way that, no, we're not doing this. Jess, I highly recommend getting all your hormones checked. My family doctor was willing to do so, I guess. Do it all for me. So I didn't have to wait on it. Oh, great. Fertility clinic to do it. Yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely. So that's certainly something that we I encourage 100% getting your labs tested, but I also make sure that once we get this diagnosis, AMH is low, progesterone is low. Okay, why is it low? Your body should be able to function. Your body system should be able to function, and make sure that your progesterone stays high and your AMH stays high. So, what is going on? The why of it all, the root cause of it all, what is blocking it from flowing? That is what I'm more concerned with. Yes, get the information for sure, but don't just stall. I don't know. I guess I'll say don't just stall there. Finding the root cause as to why. And so I'm always talking about the Dutch test. I'm always talking about mapping out your cycle. I'm always talking about mapping out your cycle hormones and understanding how your adrenal hormones play into all this. So for sure, absolutely, getting your hormones checked is, but beyond just what they're testing at the fertility clinic, because they only need tools for the job that they're doing. But if you're someone who's looking for natural fertility solutions, we need different tools. So we need different tests. What is the Dutch test? I knew someone was going to ask, and I was like, okay. And only because I haven't quite figured out how to explain it this fast. So I'm going to try. The Dutch test, they have multiple tests, but the ones that I use in my practice is they have a cycle mapping test and basically a hormone, just an overall hormone mapping test. And this allows you to figure out, I'm always saying, your cycle, healthy cycle is the best way to a natural pregnancy. So the map, hence the name, maps out your cycle. You take it, it's a urine test that you do for a whole cycle, and it tells you on each and every day, because you go into a fertility clinic, it's a snapshot. They take your blood that day. You don't know the peaks and the lows and the highs and when and what, you don't know anything. And so you need to figure out what is it doing the whole cycle, because egg health and development is happening over here on this day. Ovulation is happening here on this day. Implantation window is happening here on this day. So you need to know all the days, not just come in on cycle day 3, come in on cycle day 19, 22. We need to know the whole thing. So that's one piece. And then the other piece of the test is your adrenal hormones and your other sex hormones, like your testosterone. And then with that, you can kind of, it helps you map out whole body things, like how's your liver doing with managing your hormones, producing the hormones and eliminating them. How is your adrenal hormones like blocking and causing, what I'm trying to say, adrenal hormones like stress and cortisol, all those things, like how is that causing your body to be in a heightened sense where your body isn't saying that it's safe to get pregnant. Your body is resisting pregnancy. Your body is diverting because your body is in control of all these things, whether you want it to or not. Your body will divert nutrients and resources and send all that away to deal with other things. You must be running from a lion right now. The way that your body is experiencing this stress, this can't be just you sitting at your desk typing up an email. You're not that stressed. Okay, your life is in danger. You're running from a lion. This is no time to get pregnant right now. So it will divert nutrients and things from your womb, from the reproductive system. And so it has multiple pins and points and dings and all that. But those are probably the quickest ones that I can explain. So this is what I did for myself. This is what's included in the program for all of my clients. It's built in because it is invaluable. Again, because I have a different approach, I need different tools. So a fertility clinic is offering you the results that they need to get. They'll offer you those tests, but I need to get different results. So I offer different fertility tests and hormone balancing tests. When I got pregnant with my son, I used vaginal progesterone suppository 3 days after ovulation. So, and this is, great. I love that you found something to work for you. And I love that we are all able to make these decisions. What will work for us best? What worked for you won't work for me, so forth and so on, right? Because again, it's just all about figuring out the why. So in the Dutch mapping test, for example, I was able to see where my progesterone levels were the whole cycle. And my issue was that I was peaking and dropping very quickly and not sustaining to sustain my implantation window, to sustain early pregnancy, because your placenta doesn't take over until week 12. So if my follicle wasn't making enough progesterone, it's quite possible that that was causing me to miscarry early, because there was nothing. Progesterone tells your body not to turn on the neck, to not shed the lining and have the next cycle. There was nothing telling my body that I was pregnant. There wasn't enough telling my body that I was pregnant. There was not enough telling my body not to cycle again. And so it's possible that that was what was happening. Oh, great. So you have the temp drop. Love it. That's also something that is included for all of my clients in the Make Every Egg Count program. So I mean, yeah, we can get along great. Yeah, the temp drop is amazing, but any tool, I mean, it's less than $200, but it's a cost, right? So an oral thermometer for $8, $10 definitely can work, but it's just not as reliable, not as consistent, and it takes the mental piece out of it and is, passive. So I love the temp drop and always recommend it. Okay, so I just wanted to, share a few more tips, a few more notes that I thought of for your consideration. So I'm going to repeat. We all need to decide what's best for us. Doesn't need to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway, right? We all need to decide our best way forward, and I say this too, when I take calls and people are interested in my program. It's not my job to get you to say, yes, yes, sign up, sign up. My job is to get you to make a decision. My job is to get you to have a plan. What is your plan? How do you want to move forward? How do you see yourself growing your family? How do you see, what's this ending looking like? How does this story end for you? And how do you plan on getting there? And so, it's all about making a decision, more so than, me being so concerned about, signing up. I'm honored, and I'm honored every time someone decides to work with me, and I'm honored to help, but that's not, we're all figuring it all out for ourselves, right? And so a few things I want to say for your consideration. If you're on this path and you're struggling and it looks like it's not working, but you also, if you really stop to think about it, you think, maybe I haven't tried, because we all say, I've tried everything. I hear that a lot. I've done everything. Thankfully, I can find you a few more things, because maybe you didn't try everything. But, it's possible that, you haven't really done, you're not there yet. You may be doing such hard work, and you may be trying your best, but maybe there's just a little bit more that we can be doing. But I wonder too, if maybe we also need to slow down. Is it possible that we are just pushing and pushing and pushing, and we're not slowing down long enough to listen? Our body speaks to us. I don't know if you think about this ever, but your body is always talking to you. And it's normally through symptoms. It's normally through your anxiety and your chest pounding. It's normally through that pain and that twinge and that nauseous feeling and that unease feeling. Your body is always talking to you. And so the question is, is it possible that you need to slow down and start to listen to your body and tune into your body? And while you're doing this, while you're slowing down, this is the time to reflect and assess and really be in tune and communicate and figure out, okay, what am I doing? So sometimes for my clients, I have them write a daily fertility routine. And basically it's to look at, what are the habits I do every day to support my fertility? And then what are the other ones? It's like a all or none. It's like, what am I doing consciously, intentionally, mindfully to support my fertility? And then everything else is in the black. There's no neutral. Because we sometimes don't understand the power that we have, like what we can be doing on a daily basis. It doesn't even have to be big things, but what we can be doing on a daily basis to support our fertility, to restore it, and to help unblock it. So, this is a time to reflect on your practices. What time are you going to bed? How much sleep are you getting? How are you eating? What foods are you omitting and maybe not getting enough of? What foods are you eating that you know you shouldn't be eating? Maybe you're literally like, when I have this, I feel this, but I love it. What food are you eating? Because it's all about reducing the strain on your body. When I was mentioning that your body will divert resources from your reproductive system to support your digestive system or your lymphatic system and your immune system and your cardiovascular system, your body, I mentioned the other day the whole supply and demand thing. Like, there isn't enough to go around, and because these things, your reproductive system isn't vital to fertility. Excuse me, isn't vital to survival. It's at the bottom of the list. You want it at the top of the list. So, what are you doing to tell your body, okay, I understand what we're doing here. So, this is the plan. This is what we have. Is there enough? Is there enough to go around? Again, my whole Friday analogy, when she's like, make it enough. Like, this ain't enough, but you need to make it enough. How can you make it enough? You need to, pour into yourself and your habits and your practice and your nutrition, all these different things, right? So we can't just be out here just hoping for the best, right? Something needs to change. And so another thing that I want you to consider is taking a break from actively trying to conceive. This is something that I recommend more so for the egg health component. If we are in a position of low fertility, we may also be in a position of poor or low or, diminished egg health. So even if and when we were to become pregnant, we aren't sure that the egg has the right number of chromosomes, that the egg is, as perfect and healthy and good quality as it could be. So by taking a break, so in my practice, I work from the 120-day egg method. Basically, this just is a great way to just sum up the fact that it takes 4 months for you to ovulate. Hi, thank you for joining. It takes 4 months for you to ovulate. So let's do some quick math right now. We're in month 2, so plus 4 will be 6. So the changes that you start today will slowly change the egg this month, will slowly change the egg this month. So by 4 months, this is the max amount of time and the max amount of exposure to these great new nutrition habits, health, all these wonderful things. So by June, 4 months, 120 days of that egg developing, it has had the most benefit. And, it keeps going on and on and on from there. The egg that you ovulate in June, July, August, September, if you're continuing these great habits, goes up and up and up and increases that way. And so you are more, and this is what I did for myself. Because I knew I was having issues with staying pregnant, not getting, I wasn't willing to, for lack of a better word, I wasn't willing to take the risk of trying again and not changing anything. So I stopped trying. For myself, that's a decision that I made to stop trying for 4 months, see what changes I could get in my cycle. Because again, I took the test and, saw all the weak spots and like my DHEA was like tanked, my progesterone was tanked, my estrogen was good sometimes, but not good like when it needed to be when the egg and the follicle were developing. I had all these issues, right? And so I had to make the decision of, thank you so much for joining. Hi. I had to make the decision of stopping. But either way, I just want to encourage you to take that into consideration. What can you do in the 120 days that it takes to ovulate from now until June? What can you do radically to change your health? And how will you know exactly what it is you should be doing? Because again, what I'm doing may not be what you should be doing. What she did may not be what you need to be doing. So how are you going to get to the root cause and find out your why, your unique position, your unique issues with fertility, right? And so, and again, stopping isn't for everyone. It's just food for thought. It is definitely something that I wanted to, plant the seed for you to consider. Again, the definition of insanity, trying the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So how can you kind of break the pattern, break the chain, slow down, reflect on your health, reflect on your habits, reflect on your nutrition, reflect on those symptoms that you are dealing with over here in your body, not realizing that they are affecting your womb health. Things like insulin issues, things like excess weight. Yes, because it disturbs your estrogen levels. It can mess up with your hormone balance. And things like other symptoms that you're dealing with. Poor digestion. You are having proper bowel movements. How's that food and those nutrients and that nutrition getting to your eggs if you aren't digesting your food well or absorbing it well, or if your body's so busy putting out this fire over here that nothing is getting down to your womb because there's not enough to go around. So no matter what you decide to do, everyone must change something. No matter how you look at this, whatever decisions you make about what is actually going to look like, you have to change something and figure out your why. That is what I'm always preaching, like the why of the why of the why. And once you do find your why, how do you plan on radically changing it? What do you plan on doing to turn it around? Flip it, reverse it. How do you plan on feeding your fertility, nurturing your fertility? So much is clicking from our previous work together, hitting very differently. And I'm happy that that is true for you. And, you're in a different space. I'm in a different space. This is how life works, right? Everything is always changing and evolving. But I'm definitely happy to hear you say that. So it is, again, I don't often say the word infertility. I do because that's the word that we use. And so y'all know what I'm talking about, but I don't believe in that. I definitely believe that infertility is a myth. I definitely believe that the way that word is thrown around is very damaging and very harmful, because we need to be talking about the imbalance. You tell someone that she has an imbalance, oh, give me my balance back. You tell someone that she has a blockage, oh, unblock that stuff. But you tell someone she's infertile, it's like, oh, so what do I need? What do words have power. I'm sure you have experiences in other areas, but if we would stop using that word, because if a woman is born with everything that she was born with, especially someone who had a baby, you can't tell me that she's infertile. The logic is not there. Something is blocking her fertility. Something is, sapping. I'm trying to say sapping, sucking it dry. But she's not infertile. She's not incapable of doing something. She just needs to be supported properly. So Jess is saying, I always feel my age is against me. I just turned the world. Why is it that 38, and this is not against you, I'm not making that face at you, but mad at the world. She's saying she just turned 38 and she would like another. So I know age can be a concern, and I think it's years of birth control that affects the body. Y'all ain't gonna get me to get on a whole nother soapbox. I have lots of soapboxes. I have one here, one there, and I can get on any of them at any time. I try not to, though. But first of all, I had someone say the other day, yeah, I'm 37. And I just feel like I'm old. Like, what have we done to ourselves? And it's just so infuriating. Like, okay, your reproductive years are the years from your first menstruation to your last menstruation. You are not done until you. Thank you. I'll take them if I need them. You're not done until you are in menopause, and the best way to guess, not prove, but the best way to guess when you will be in menopause is when your mom or your grandma went into menopause, right? And those numbers are normally in the 50s, right? So you can't. So you're 38, and she's worried about being old. I want to help take that off of you. Hear me now, okay? You are so young. You are still so vital. You are still so vibrant. And a lot of the research that was done on all this stuff was done in, like, I swear, y'all, the don't give me the line. I want to say 1740. I'm gonna look it up if I remember and if I feel like it. I'm gonna look it up and post it one day, maybe later this week. The year the vet study was done that said maternal age and geriatric pregnancy. I went for my ultrasound the other day and it said, advanced maternal age. I said, damn thing, clutch my pearls and everything. Um, I started collecting posts from women who had children 42 or older, inspirational at 44. I just saw one about someone at 47. And who doesn't have that auntie or great aunt somewhere in their family who had a child, at 47 and, that not oops baby because that's not nice, but like that surprise baby. There's someone somewhere, right? And because they're simultaneously telling us that we're too old, but they're simultaneously asking us, so what are your birth control methods? Why do I need birth control if you're telling me it's impossible for me to get pregnant? When you're older, right? And so until the door closes at menopause, it's still open. It's still an option. Um, and and yes, things change and they become more difficult. You have to be more precise, and we can't fight nature, but it's not just like this thing that's over with. I don't. It infuriates me, in fact, because that again, the whole mindset piece. Like now, you have people thinking this is a whole nother weight to carry around in this whole low fertility thing. Oh, and I'm old. Oh no, like this is never gonna work. I'm running out of time. Maybe financially, you run out of finances. Maybe emotionally, mentally, you have a stopping point. But your age at 30, whatever, shouldn't be said stopping point. Those things shouldn't exist. Um, and so again, it's all about looking at the pillars of front of your fertility. So that's kind of the framework that I use. That your fertility is here, and there's all these things holding it up, right? And pregnancy happens outside of the womb. Sometimes it's not just ovary this and uterus this. Is a whole body, head to toe thing, and you need to make sure that you're not ignoring or overlooking some imbalances, weaknesses certainly in your cycle. Certainly, if you're dealing with things that are you ovulating at all? And when you do you ovulate well? Is that egg as healthy as it can be? And once the egg leaves the follicle, that follicle still has a job to help support and maintain the pregnancy. Like all these different pieces are happening with your cycle. And so, just finding weaknesses in your cycle, weaknesses in your hormones to help find the root cause. Is it stress? Is it inflammation? Is it oxidative stress, which is like internal stress? Is it a nutrient imbalance? Is it an excess of something? Is it a depletion of something else? Is it liver health? Is it some miscommunication with your immune system? Is it your brain health? Is it a miscommunication with the signals in your brain that tell your ovaries and your uterus to do X, Y, and Z? Um, Again, the pillars. There's lots of pillars. Okay, there are lots of things that you can work on, and it's kind of like scary because it's like, oh, it can be anything. But I think it just gives you control. I think it just gives you back a sense of power, a sense of control that there is something you can be doing and should be doing to support your fertility, to restore and replenish it and unblock it. Because as I started, when you're hit with this decision, like, oh, it's taking longer than I thought it would, is IVF the next step? That I don't know if it is for you. I don't know. But if you are interested in it, in choosing a different path, I want to make sure that you are aware that there is a different path, because IVF is everywhere and it works for her and it worked for her. And these people have these beautiful children. Yes, it works. But it is not always the first and only stop, and it should not be for every instance of low fertility, every cause of low fertility. Some women choose to do it because they feel like they have chromosomal issues and they want to make sure they can test their eggs first. So it's like it has a place, but you give someone a hammer, all they see is nails. So just trying to realize that this holistic thing is definitely a viable option. This holistic thing is not, woo woo, and that, it's not really worth. And and I hear that, which, I have to take, it's not worth my time to take this route. That is everyone's personal preference and prerogative, but for someone who knows deep down that there's something not right with their body, with their health, it is possible that your body is just in crisis. Your body is just in this mode of now's not the time. We can support a pregnancy. We will not be getting pregnant. And if you do get pregnant, there isn't enough to go around to sustain that pregnancy. So it's all about walking all that back, reversing it, restoring your fertility, unblocking your fertility, and just figuring out your root cause and your why. So, thank you all so much for all of your comments and participation. And I'm smiling now because I'm just thinking about it. It just makes me so happy to have a dialogue. So hopefully you can say something to help someone else on the chat. Hopefully, the conversation overall. Hi, stranger danger. So I love when you all talk back and forth and comment and ask questions. It's really it helps me to get the points across and to it's supposed to be a community here, and we're all in this sisterhood. The worst club with the best members, right? And so I really appreciate you all, and I hope that something I said today resonated with you and can support you on your journey to natural pregnancy, support you in shifting your beliefs, shifting your mindset if pregnancy is still even natural pregnancy and getting pregnant, the good old fashioned way is still an option for you, and what you can be doing to kind of address that and to get to the get to the result that you want to get to. And so, if you're interested, I do have spots open in my program. The Make Every Egg Count program is open until the end of this month, actually. So, beginning at the beginning of March is when we will be starting with a new group of mamas. And so, if you're interested in all, let me know, because after this, I will be going on maternity leave. So, if you're interested in working with me sooner than later, I'll be back, of course, later this year after my maternity leave. But this is something that I obviously am very passionate about, and I have turned my own pain into my passion. And this is a method that I've tweaked because I really drilled it down for myself, and it worked for me. And so now I have repackaged it and repurposed it and all that good stuff to be able to serve and help mamas better. And so I talk about my proof the most. I definitely have had other clients with successful, good outcomes and all that, but I tell my story the most because it's my story and I know it front to back, and I can willingly and eagerly share. Jess is saying, please message me. Are you talking to one of the other mamas, or are you talking to me, Jess? Okay, you all are talking to each other, I think. Okay. So I was just thanking you all and just encouraging you all, and I hope that I said something here today. Let me know if you're interested in learning more about my fertility. Oh, she's talking to me. Fertility program. Send me a DM real quick, so I can grab your what's this thing called? Handle, screen name, whatever the thing's called. Jess. Because once I close this, everything closes. So you can find me easier than I can find you, basically what I'm saying. It doesn't save all of my chats. So yes, if you're interested, let me know and I can share more about the program. It's application based. So if you're just even remotely interested, go to the website, read the little bits and pieces, apply, and then we can just chat a little bit more. Because again, my job is not to get you to say yes to me. My job is to help you find a solution, to make a decision, to find your path. Like, what we doing here, sis? Is this baby coming 2023, 2024? Are you tapping out? What is your plan here? And so that is my goal. So yeah, link in the bio. To find the application page, or just go to my website, mooncatching.com. Send me a DM. I would love to talk to you all. And last thing, yesterday's live, I said I'm having a cycle tracking workshop, but only if I can get 5 people to join. So it's a free workshop going over how to cycle track using either the Kandara app or the Temp Drop app specifically. And I will be giving some one-on-one support if anyone wants to share their current chart with me, and I can help you find I call them weaknesses, but pinpoint the weaknesses in your cycle that are already visible just on your chart. And then, of course, I'm always talking about taking the Dutch test, the urine sample test that maps out your cycle day to day. Okay, cool, Jess. So basically, you want to talk to me, send a DM. Okay, ask me some questions, see what I was talking about today. Let me know if you want to join the workshop. It's going to be free. It's going to be like a hard hitting, this is how you cycle track, because you should be tracking your cycle today to find out what's going on. It's like a bloodless fertility test, is how I like to say it. You can find out what's going on in your fertility just by using an app. Like, come on, that's amazing. All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining me today and chatting with me today. I'm going to be on cloud 9 for the rest of the day. I'm here if you need me. I love you all. I'm sending you so much encouragement, so much love. I hope that I can continue. I hope that I am encouragement and inspiration to you. And if so, I hope I can continue to be that source for you. As Soul starts saying, she collects these stories. Absolutely. I love that. Stories of hope, right? Sometimes it's hard to see, to see it because that envy and that longing sets in. But at some point, thankfully, I was able to flip that around, and just, I want that. The reminder, seeing a birthing story, seeing all those things, this is what I'm fighting for. Yeah, it hurts like hell, but to be able to do that again, to be able to feel that again, and to be able to have, again, or maybe for the first time for some of us, that's what it's all about. And it's hard. It's so hard. So maybe we do need to take a break here or there, but to have these stories of hope is so encouraging. And so I hope that I can be a blinding beacon, a source of inspiration, a blinding reminder that 2 years, 2 losses, depression that I was unaware of, all these things, and I'm having this rainbow pregnancy, and I will be having this rainbow baby in a few months. So, all right, let me stop rambling. I love you all. Please go out and take care of yourself, and do not give up on yourself. All right, y'all. Have a good day.